Hello, 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 and welcome to Adrian's show, Thursday midday Queensland time. So, welcome. So, my name is Adrian Hanks, author of Where Am I Right Now, and also author of my great little children's book, Wendy and the Fairy Ring Secret. And I work as a coach and a teacher in the space of personal and spiritual development. So this show is all about you, and this is about you tuning in and asking me some questions about how to help you to get on track and stay on track in your life, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or any other aspect of life. So I'm here to support you, to guide you, to inspire you, to help you to really get more out of life. So if you have a question, if you have something going on for you right now in your life where you want a bit of support, a bit of inspiration, a bit of guidance, then this is the forum to do that. And just for the heads up, I don't use any psychic abilities much in this program, so I'm not tuning into my angels and guides and giving you guidance from there. This is more of a practical perspective from my psychotherapeutic and coaching experience and skills. So you may ask a question about your relationship or your vocation or your health and well-being and what's going on for you, and I'll give some practical pointers for you to help you to get back on track. So first thing I'd love to do is just do a check-in with the sound and viewing. So if somebody who is listening in and watching in can just give me a heads up, just to say, yes, Adrian, everything is clear. We can hear you. We can see you. That would be absolutely fantastic, because there's nothing worse than being on a show where we play the recording and there's silence or something is not going on. So it's always good to do a sound check and a view check. So if one of you out there will just do that for me, it will be highly appreciated. So just hi, Adrian. Yes, can hear you, can see you, and all is good. That would be a wonderful thing to have popping up on the screen. So just type that in for me. And of course, your questions are just typed up on the screen, and I will then answer those verbally for you as well. So if you could do that, that will be wonderful. See if there's anybody out there going to do that for me. Hey, hi, Debs. Yeah, just let me know if you can hear me. Okay, just doing a sound check in there. That's always a really good thing to do when we are live on these shows. Can hear you well. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. It's really good to do that little sound check. It's wonderful. So look, a little bit about myself. Just maybe a bit of a story about this morning. This morning I was at a business breakfast in Robina. I live on the Gold Coast, so I've just been down there for a business meeting with 40 other people. I'm part of a BX networking group that supports getting business going and getting clients coming in the door, and it's absolutely fantastic. Today was a bit of a full house with 40 people in there, and I had some great connections, some great communications in there, and I'll be going to do some work with a couple of people in the health and well-being space from that meeting. So for me, it's all about connection. It's all about connecting with people, connecting with the community, and supporting each other in helping us in our life with our health and our well-being, our vocation, our relationships, and whatever else is going on for us. So this show is all about supporting you and helping you. So if you want that support, the way to do that is to ask those questions. So let's have a look here. What sort of questions do you answer? Alison, great question. Thank you. It's probably going to be one of the best questions of the day, because I can explain what I should do. So Alison, it's about helping you and others on here to get back on track in your life. So there's something you need to know about health and well-being, about relationship, about vocation, about financial movement going forward. I can support you in that by giving you a few tips and insights on what you might do to empower yourself to get to that place to make the decisions. Yep. So I'd say once again, I don't download the information and say to you, you're going to meet your soul partner next week and everything's going to be great in relationship. It's more about the practicalities of what you can do to get that relationship happening. For instance, do you have a vision of that new partner coming into your life? And if not, I can give some pointers on how to create that vision and how to then put that into a plan and then action that, so that you can actually invite and have that partner coming into your life if you're looking for a partner. If you're looking for a change in relationship or a change in your health and well-being, I can also help you in that too. So the best way to do is type away. And then if it's not quite clear enough, they'll ask you to elaborate a little bit more, and we'll get a bit more clear on the question. So let's have a look. Leanne, I'm overwhelmed with my children not talking to me and can't find a relationship. So two things there. Let's put those into two compartments, Leanne. One is about the children not talking to you. So obviously there's some conflict going in there, and the question will be, what is the conflict that you need to resolve to get those children to talk to you? Are they living at home with you? Are they living away from home with you? Is there something happened in the relationship that needs some support to get through whatever that challenge was? It might mean a third party coming in to negotiate something. It might need some letter writing. It might need just a coffee meeting. It may be that you've done something or they've done something where there's a difference of opinion. So it's about getting clear on what the disconnect is to begin with. And once you name the disconnect and you can get clear on the disconnect, then you can start looking at how to reconnect with those children in that space. And okay, can see you on here too. And the second part is, I can't find a relationship. So Leanne, in terms of finding the relationship, the clarity for me around that is, are you clear on the sort of person you want to bring in your life? Have you visioned the image of that person? A bit of assumption here that it's a male. Have you got a real clear vision of what he looks like? If it's a female, then please correct me, because you never know these days of what people's sexual orientation is. So just a little bit of an assumption. Apology if it's not the correct one. But if it's a male, have you visualized what he will look like? What's he doing in his life? What sort of spiritual path is he leading that might align with your purpose? What does he look like, feel like, smell like? What sort of vocation he is in? Where does he live? All those things. Get clear on the vision, because we know if we put that vision out to the universe will deliver. And there's a great little story around this that I'd like to share with you with my current wife, Arlene. We've been together for 15 years now. We're just about to celebrate our 15th year together in next month. And we got to know each other in South Africa, in Cape Town. And we were both going through separation and, spent some time alone and had a relationship just to get ourselves together. And then we started to visualize the sort of person we wanted to be with. And, everybody else around us sort of knew we'd be together, but we were being a bit a bit in denial around it. But what we both had, unbeknownst to each other until we went to each other's places, on the wall, we both had something called the invitation. And it's written by Araya Mountain Dreamer. And it's a beautiful piece of prose about the sort of person one wants in one's life. And Arlene had it in her room on her wall, and I had it on my room in my wall. And when we actually got married, we used that as part of our wedding vows. So Araya Mountain Dreamer, the invitation, you can Google it. And you can write your own, but it's about creating the vision of who you want in your life. And I really created the vision of having Arlene in my life. Again, I think we've been together a few times in our journey, in our incarnations, but just putting that out to the universe, that this is the person I want. That's the step one. And then putting yourself in social situations or situations where you're probably likely to meet that person. That could be online or it can be offline. So some practicalities around that. So getting the vision and then the plan and then putting the action into place for you, Leanne, would be the way to go. They live away, they have blocked me. Look, that's a difficult one, Leanne, and oftentimes there's a story behind what that block is all around. You've done something, they've done something, there's some story around it. And it's about keeping them in your prayers to begin with. Having maybe an altar with some photographs and a candle and lighting the candle every day. And just keeping that connection. And maybe writing some letters, even if you don't mean to send them, you can still write them and put them into the energy center, into the etheric realm of the universe. So on some level, they will pick it up. So you can start to do a few things in that non-physical space without actually doing the connection, to keep the love connection going, to keep the etheric or universal space going in the connection. And that's a great thing to do. I do that with people I'm disconnected with. If I want to keep the connection, I'll do it on a more subtle way. And then it's amazing what can actually happen in the process of opening that up. So there are several ways to do it. And one might be photographs and a candle, beautiful little ceremony every day just to keep the connection. and then just sit and wait and see what unfolds. So there are a few things we can do, and that's a very beautiful one to do, because it keeps them in your consciousness. Because, parental love never really goes away. It doesn't matter what our children do to us. There's always an aspect of love, and it's about keeping the portal of love open in certain ways. So that's a good way to do it. So I certainly do that myself when needed as well. So I hope that helps you, Leanne. So Kim, no direction. Well, that's a statement question. So if you don't have any direction, Kim, it's about sitting down and finding that vision. Really getting some direction. And people say to me, I don't know what that is. And I say, well, that's not true, because your soul knows. Your spirit knows. The inner aspect of your being knows exactly what you're here to do and what you're here for. We just have to get through the old stories of that. And we have to get clear on that and be brave enough and vulnerable enough to actually speak what that thing is. And it might be that there's a fear around actually going towards it. It usually is. I'm not good enough, I'm not educated enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not blah, 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 blah. And that old story actually stops us stepping into being what that very thing is we love to do. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, and I speak that, and I name that, because I'm past the fear of speaking it now. So we have to get to a point of past the fear or the doubt and actually name that thing. And if you want some support on that, Kim, or anybody else on here, go to my website, adrianhanks.com, and go and book in for a free 30-minute session with me, and I will get you to that place. I'll get you to that place where you have some directions, have some vision, and then it's a matter of getting some plan into action, and then actually actioning that plan and getting happening. It's what I do. It's what I do in my mentoring and coaching. So if you actually want to do some work with me as well, one-on-one or group work, then you can also do that. You can go to my website, jump on and look at the programs. I have an online program, I have a 12-week program, and then I have a 12-month program, but I also do one-on-one coaching as well. So I'm very happy to help and support wherever that's needed, because going through life without that direction will mean it'll have lots of impact on you. It'll have a physical impact on you. It'll have a health impact on you. It'll have a mental health impact on you. It'll have a emotional impact on you. It'll have a spiritual impact on you. So I say that finding your direction, finding your passion, finding your purpose is one of the most important things that we can do. I know some people disagree with that and go with the flow, etc., etc. But my point is, when you have that direction, when you wake up every single day knowing what you're here to do on the planet, your health improves, physical and mental, emotional, spiritual. It really does improve, because you're got your blood flow happening, you've got your energy flowing. Because when there's energy flow, there's no stagnation. But when people are in stagnation, that's when the illness comes in. That's when the lethargy comes in. That's when the sense of purpose is absolutely lost. So Kim, let's work on that with you if you're willing to do that. Website, adrianhanks.com, book in for a session with me, and we will help you to find that direction really seriously. It's not rocket science. There's some skills and some little things to do to actually unfold that with you to get you clarity on that. What kind of questions do I answer? So Tanya, questions on health, well-being, direction, vocation, relationship, anything where you need to get back on track and stay on track is what you can ask on here. So just take direction from the people that are asking questions, and you can follow suit, Tanya. So thank you. Yes, I have visioned him tall, dark, handsome, kind, loving, loyal, treats me like his queen, and he can be my king. What a great vision. So start to meditate on that, Leanne. Start to work on that. Start to get a sense of how old is he? Where does he live? What sort of vehicle does he drive? What sort of work does he do? Does he smoke? Does he drink? Does he do drugs? Does he meditate? All those things. Start to really get even more clarity on it. Yeah, and get really clear on that vision for yourself. And then the second question, Leanne, is, are you ready for him? If you want the God to walk in, are you truly in your goddess space for him to see the goddess? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Do you walk good? Do you talk good? Do you smell good? Do you taste good? Are you living that life where he's going to walk in and go, wow, this is my goddess? So do you need to do any personal work for yourself to prepare yourself for him too? So there is that meeting of energies. Because you may have the vision, but you may not be his version of what he wants yet. So it's all back to personal responsibility to begin with. Yep. Is there something you need to do to improve yourself so that king can walk in and see his queen, because it always comes back to self. So I meet many people who want that vision of the tall, handsome, loving kind, and yet when I look at them and I get a sense of them, they're not ready in their being. And that's a self-responsibility, because it's not going to match, the vibration isn't going to reach. So it's about what you need to do to prepare yourself. I know with Arlene, I took a year out of a relationship from my first marriage, took a year out with no relationship, no sexual connection with anybody for 12 months to prepare myself for my next relationship. And when I was ready, I was ready. So it's about the preparation work. And that can take, sometimes, it took me 12 months to prepare myself for my next relationship after completing one, because I wasn't ready for another one in the new paradigm, in what I truly wanted. I could have gone back to the old self and the old relationship, the old paradigm, but I didn't want that. I wanted something really different. And that took preparation. It took me some spiritual work, some mental work, some physical work. I had to get rid of a few old habits and old stories. And when I was ready, wow, then I already knew Arlene, like we were friends, but I and she were not ready for the relationship because we still had work to do on ourselves. So we took 12 months out. And then when we were ready, wow, the fireworks started. So I'd say to people, just wait, just be patient, do the work on self and prepare yourself for that partner. So I hope that helps Leanne too. Leanne, children can hurt. It can be really painful. So go into the pain, go into the hurt, go into the sorrow, go into the grief, do the emotional work and clear that out, and then do the connecting work. Yep. The non-physical connecting work to begin with, it would be maybe something to do, because it's very painful. My body hurts all over and I wake up sad every day. Yep. So go into the pain, go into it, and then follow through with that new connection. Hi, my business isn't working. Can you please guide me on what I foresee for the same? Okay, so Tanya, if your business isn't working, same thing, coming back to business coaching, coming back to some clarity around it. What I do when I help people in that space is creating a vision first, what you truly want to do in your business, getting really clear on the business, having your vision statement, or mission statement for yourself or for the business, putting the plans into action, your client base, how you're going to work, what you're going to charge, putting all the things into place like business cards and websites and brochures and all those practical things, and then testing the energy for it. So I use a lot of muscle testing or pendulum work to test the energy flow of everything you do, even down to the font you use, the color you use, because what may have worked 3 months ago from where you were energetically might not be working now. So for instance, I do new business cards every 3 months, every 4 months, because my energy shifts, the wording changes, the energy changes, the flow changes. I update my website regularly with different wordings and different visions because I change. And if I'm not keeping up with showing who I am when I'm selling my business, it's not the resonance to my current client. So we do the vision, the plan, and then the action. And Tanu, I'd be very happy to sit with you. Come and book in for that 30-minute free consultation with me from my website, adrianhanks.com, and we'll start the process. And then if you want to do more with me afterwards, we can certainly do more. It's something I specialize in, is helping people in small business to get things happening. Really do. Because you may just simply be off track in one little area that's affecting every other area. So we have to look at all the different aspects and then clear it up and move forward for you. So I hope that helps you to do that. Would love a love reading. So Christine, a love reading. So what I say to people when they're asking for a reading is I don't do readings on here. I don't do the card pulls or download any info. But what I would say to you is the deeper question for you is, what are you looking for in love? Because if you're asking for a reading in love, there's obviously a question about what you're looking for. What's the loss in your life? What's the next level of love you're looking for? And for you to answer that will empower yourself. So sit for a couple of minutes and ask yourself deeply, what am I looking for in love? Once again, creating that vision. What am I looking for in love? Is it something specific in my relationship, or am I not in relationship and I'm actually looking for a relationship with certain aspects of love? So for me, it's all about the clarity. Everything I do in this work is when there's doubt, yep, we bring in clarity. When there's fear, we bring in courage. Yep, we have to work with the skills we have, with the resources we have. And the first thing we do is we seek clarity. Clarity in the question, clarity in the vision, clarity in the planning, clarity in the action. Because that's empowering. It's the most empowering thing we can do is have clarity. So when you're clear on the questions and you go deeper down the rabbit hole and unfold the question, the clearer the answers come. So I would say there, Kristen, ask that question in a different way. What are you specifically looking for in love? And get clear on that one. Would love a reading regarding career. Same thing, Kate, in career. Ask yourself, what do you want to do? What are you doing currently in your career? Are you happy and content with that? Or do you have a bigger vision for yourself, a different vision of yourself in your career and your vocation? What do you want to do? Because if you tell me what you're currently doing and you tell me you're happy, then we find a way to tweak that to make it even better for you. But if you're doing something you don't like, then we have to change that paradigm for you so you're actually doing something you love doing. Yeah. So right now, I can take that question. Would love a reading regarding career. I don't do the readings, but I'm happy to support you in finding the exact space for you in your career so you have joy and contentment in that space. So I can certainly help you in that. So maybe if you want to ask a deeper question, Kate, then ask the next level of questioning to get the clarity. Very happy. Can I please have a reading? So same, Leanne, no readings from me. I don't do the card readings or downloading from Spirit. What I do is answer questions with practicalities and insights to empower you to get back on track in your life and to stay on track in your life on all aspects: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, sexual, intimate, career, vocation, bringing joy and purpose into your life, finance into your life, whatever's needed. And I can answer that from a more practical perspective, like I've been doing with the other questions. So if you want to get a bit deeper, Leanne, I'd be saying, what specifically would you like a reading on? And I won't be giving a reading, but I can give some advice or some insight into the thing you're looking for. Because most people know what they're looking for. And rather than asking for a reading from Spirit, which I do myself, I've got several decks of cards, and Arlene and I often spend an evening card reading with each other and getting some insights. But that's what this show is not. There's lots of others on the Spiritual Events Directory doing that. So I've chosen to do something slightly different from a more psychotherapeutic coaching and mentoring space. So hope that supports you, Leanne. So by all means, go a little bit deeper with the questions and we'll see where we're going. So Leanne, I'm probably not ready. I feel my house holds me back with clutter and my emotional state is not good. I'm hurt my children. Yeah, so the cluttering, Leanne, the decluttering, so important. And you can either do that by yourself or have a decluttering party. And the best way I have found, and this works time and time again, I've done it myself and I've worked with people doing the decluttering, is you pick one room or one area in the room. You get 3 labels: keep, yep, sell, and give away or throw away. And those things you really need to keep, you put in the keep pile. Those things you want to sell because you may want to get a return of something financially for it. You put in the sell pile and put it on eBay or Facebook or have a garage sale. And the other is give away, which you give to friends, like for instance, books. You can put all your books on the table, take a photograph and invite all your friends around to take a book away, or have a donation box, or whatever you want to do, or take it to Vinnie's, or just throw it in the rubbish bin if it's rubbish. So that's the beginning. Pick a space in the room, or pick a room and just start. And if you need somebody to sit with you to help you make a decision, find a good friend that will actually push you to make that decision. You're going to keep that, you're going to sell that, you're going to get rid of that. So, put a system in place and then commit yourself to doing it. Just 10 minutes a day or for 1 hour. But start the process. Because when you declutter and you have space around, then you can start to do the emotional work. Because usually clutter is a sign of non-emotional work. Because you're so cluttered in the mind, it expresses itself back in the home. So imagine your mind is really cluttered at the moment. So clear the space, and then we'll work on clearing the mind, and we can do that through some meditation or some emotional release work. And then you can actually get into the process of doing the healing work that needs to be done. Yeah. Okay. So that's the beginning. Clear the decks, clear the mind, get ready for the work. but you have to do that initial preparation work first. It's really important. I hope that helps, Leanne. So Margaret, I have lost my husband of 42 years last year. I can't seem to let him go. Feel so lost. I can't move forward. So firstly, Margaret, condolences. I'm really, really sorry to hear that. That's a long, long time to spend with a partner. And then find yourself alone. So the one thing I'd say is you're not alone. He will be with you. So that's the first tune in, Margaret, every single day. You know, having that altar, having that place where there's a photograph, where there's a candle, where you can sit and meditate and communicate with him and just be in his presence. You know, just close your eyes, bring him into the room, just be with him. Because the grieving process, and this is a bit of a challenge in our Western world, we aren't taught to allow the grieving process to unfold naturally. And after 42 years of being with somebody, it doesn't matter what the state of the relationship was, the fact that you were together will mean that the grieving process is going to be quite a while. And in my experience, a grieving process is around a couple of years for a relationship. It really is. They're always going to be with you. And you need to find that space to grieve, to laugh, to cry, to scream, to yell, to whatever emotion you need to express. But Margaret, invite him in, light the candle. I know if you're doing this already, have the photographs, talk about him, find some friends where you can share stories about the relationship and the times with him and what he did. And remember him in that space. And if there's anything you need to know from the spiritual world in terms of guidance, you've got the perfect guide. Yeah, he's there. He's actually in that space. You can get it firsthand. So that can really support you. But yeah, do the grieving. It's really, really important to do the grieving. You know, don't let anybody say move on. If you're being told to move on and forget, that's the wrong advice. You need to allow the grieving process to be natural for you. Yeah. And the question for you would be, what do you mean by moving forward? Because it's quite an open-ended statement. I can't move forward. What does that mean? So going down that rabbit hole a little bit, getting clear on what that means for you to move forward. Does it mean moving forward in, you know, a new relationship? I'm not sure if that's what you're alluding to. Does it mean moving forward in socializing? Does it mean moving forward in doing things by yourself? So that, you know, it's quite open-ended. So get a bit more clarity on what that means for you about moving forward. And if you want some support in that, Margaret, you know, I'm very, very happy to sit with you and have a conversation. adrianhanks.com. Go and book in for a session, and we can actually spend some time on that and see if I might be able to support you in that. And if you need some support to communicate with your partner on the other side, I can also recommend some people to help you with that too, if you want to do that. Some really good people who I know who work in that space. I'm very happy to recommend if you need to do that as well. Margaret, if you're not doing that already. Leanne, can I please have a reading on health? So Leanne, once again, no readings, but what I would say to you is get clear on what it is you need to do for your health. And how I say that to people is imagine yourself in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months time from a health perspective. What's the vision of yourself? What's your future potential self vision of yourself and what you need to do to get there? And I'll give you an example. 12 months ago, I'd already run a couple of 10K races, runs, charity runs for family and domestic violence. And I was 87 kilos. I was going to the gym a couple of days a week. I was on a pretty good diet, but I felt a bit bloated, didn't feel quite right. And I knew that I needed to lose some body fat. I knew I needed to lose some body fat. So I called a friend of mine who works in that space. He's a super coach. And I said, I want to get a six-pack. I want to get a bit more fit. I want to take myself to the next level. So we got a vision together. I visioned what I wanted, and visioned that I wanted to get my six-pack and, you know, run more than 10Ks and be super fit. So we put a process in place for 12 weeks. And in 12 weeks, I lost 16 kilos of body fat. Changed my mindset, changed some dietary things, changed my exercise, did some more gym exercise. And that was the first 3 months. And then the next 3 months, I prepared myself and actually did a 23K run. So I doubled my 10K. I did a half marathon in effect and felt really good about doing it. and I'm currently sitting on about 75 kilos, feeling really good, gymming, yogaing, eating even better than I was before, and I was on a pretty good diet, but just took it up another notch. And I visualized it first, and then I created the plan, put it into action, and now I'm feeling the results. So the question for you would be, what's your vision for yourself? Create that first, and if you want some support in getting to that next level of your physical health, then I'm very happy to support you in that process. Yep. And it could be mental health. It's the same story. What you need to do to clear it up. It could be spiritual health. It could be emotional health. But get a clarity for yourself, Leanne, on what it is you actually want to achieve. That's the first step. So, Tanyu M from India. Yeah, I've just had a 2 weeks in India. I just spent 2 weeks there with a Skyway Invest Group. You can see the thing swig on here. I was over there for a celebration and some leadership training, and then a 3-day yoga retreat, and it was absolutely fantastic. Tanyu, if you're there in India right now, I was in Goa. I've absolutely had an amazing time. I've only been back for 8 days now, and I'm still carrying that Indian energy from that space, and it was just a wonderful place to be. So part of the financial journey for me right now is to get my financial education in place, which I'm doing through Skyway Invest Group. So if anybody wants some financial support, please contact me for that too, and I can put you in touch with what we're doing with our global crowdfunding investment company, which is helping people have some more passive income. And that's easy access to start that happening for you. So I work in all spheres: the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the financial, the vocational, the relationship, the social, and the creative space. So I work in 10 aspects of life, and I help people to put all those 10 aspects into life so we can have a holistic perspective, because it's all about being holistic and having everything in play. Because if we forget one and we're not working on one, it affects everything else. So we have to look at it from a holistic perspective. I can't grieve. I wake up every hour. I'm so tired. So, Alison, it might be a case of finding somebody that can help you to grieve. Yep. Finding somebody to help you to do the grieving process, because it's so important. So there's particular things you can do to help you with the grieving. Because if you're tired and you're not getting the sleep, it's going to be very hard to grieve in a particular way. So getting some support. And if you want some support in that, please do call me. I can help you personally, or I can also help you by putting somebody else in place who I know can help you with that grieving process to get through that as well. Okay, will my family be happy together? So Leanne, once again, I'm not doing any downloading in that. It depends on their communication. It depends on their story. It depends on how they're working together to create that happiness, because everybody has to be in on the party. Everybody has to have some input to bring that happiness in. And, most families have their issues, they have their challenges, but it's about how do we communicate with each other in our families to keep that happiness, to keep that bond, to keep that connection. And it's not always easy. And sometimes it takes somebody to put in the initiative to actually start that. And that could be you. What is really blocking me from getting a job? So Mel, good question. I would suggest you're not clear on what you actually want to do. If it's being blocked, what do you actually want to do? What is your job? What's your vocation? What do you want to do on the planet? Get clear on the vision. Get absolutely clear on the vision. And then once you have the vision, where do you go to put that job into place? Who do you talk to? Who do you connect with? But it's about getting the vision. Who are you in that job? What do you want to do in that job? How many hours? How much money do you want to make? Where do you want to be working? What are your clients? What sort of job is that? So get clear on the vision and then get the plan. If you want some support on that, Mel, adrianhanks.com, straight to my website, book in for a session, and we will definitely get you on track. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. And it's what I do well, is helping people to get on track and stay on track in their life, in all aspects of life. So Cheryl, going through spiritual crisis. Thoughts on making this easier to deal with. Yep, so spiritual crisis, I love them. They are the most challenging spaces we can be in. But when we engage in that crisis, that's in that crossroads, in understanding the depth of the spiritual crisis, and we work with it, and we wrestle with it, and we argue and we shout with it, and we argue with our spirit beings and our spirit guides, and we get clarity on that, and we break through that. Oh, what a moment. What a moment. And a lot of it is about taking the space, Cheryl, taking the space in that crisis to work out what the crisis is, naming the crisis, what's going on for you right now. So name it and tame it and move on. So get clear on what the crisis is. Can you name it practically? Can you write it down? My spiritual crisis I'm going through right now is ... And then you have something to work with. Because otherwise it's like a big bowl of spaghetti going on in the head and we don't get the clarity. As I mentioned before, clarity, 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 clarity. To get clear on what the crisis is, name it. Yep, name it. So that'd be the first thought on making it easier to deal with. Get clear on what the crisis is. And then work out what you need to do. What are the steps? What's the plan to break through the crisis? But you have to name it first so you can actually bring some clarity to the plan so that you can take action. For instance, you might need to go and sit with a teacher. You might need to go and do some more study. You might need to go and become the spiritual teacher. That could be your crisis, that you're actually ready to teach and you have a fear around it. It might be that you're not clear on your spiritual path. Can you name your path? Like, I'm really clear about my spiritual path. Really clear. I've been following it for over 25 years. It's the path of anthroposophy, and Rudolf Steiner's my teacher. And it's a big part of my life. And I'm really clear on it. I do my study. You know, I have my study group. I have my specific meditations. I have particular books. I have particular art. I have particular mantras. I have particular things I do to keep me in that spiritual path. And it's a long time. It's nearly half my life on one spiritual path. Because the longer I'm in it, the deeper down the rabbit hole I go with the experiences and the knowledge of that wisdom. So it's the knowledge of the Rosicrucian stream, you know, that's thousands of years old. And I tap into that wisdom. I tap into, if you like, that Akashic record of that wisdom, because I'm clear about my path. So I hope that helps, Cheryl. If you want some more support, please do contact me, and I'm very happy in that. Hi, Kate, again. Thank you. And I can't meditate. I've tried. So, yep. And I've been meditating for over 20 years, Leanne, and I'm still trying. I'm still trying. I'm still trying. Every day I get up and I'm still trying, because it's never perfect. Because it's a practice. Meditation is a practice, and I keep practicing it. And some days it's great and I get it right, and other days I sit in meditation and it doesn't come and I struggle with it. But it's about setting the time, setting the place. If you go to my Facebook page, adrianhanks.com, or go to my website, adrianhanks.com, and go to the website, and you'll see in the media section there is a 1 hour webinar on meditation, on how to meditate on there. And you can go to that and check that out. So just in the media page on my website, adrianhanks.com, and there's four different meditation techniques in there, because it might be that you're not meditating with the right meditation for you, because there's a million different meditations out there. It might be you're not doing it at the right time, and you just simply haven't got a meditation teacher yet to help you. So do the practical things. Find the teacher, find the right meditation, find the right time, and drop into the meditation space. And a friend of mine, Bob, he was one of my meditation teachers down in Melbourne for quite a while. He said his next meditation book on how to meditate is going to be simple. Sit down, close your eyes, and be quiet. There you go. Just got to practice and practice every single day, Leanne, until it comes. And also, you know, find yourself a meditation teacher. And if I can support you in that way, I'm very happy to do so. Margaret, I feel stuck. Great place to be, stuck. I love, because when you're stuck, you're in frustration, and what you can do is work on the frustration, break through the frustration, and then get unstuck. And you can get unstuck by getting a clear vision of who and what you want to become next week, next month, next year. Yep, that's the first step of getting unstuck. What do you want to do? Get clear on that. And then the unstuckness comes up. You might have to get into the frustration first and get unstuck, and maybe get angry or get into grief, or whatever it is need to do to get into the emotion of breaking through. That's really, really important. Yep. So stuckness, yeah, look, we all get stuck. I get stuck. But what are you doing about it is my question. You have a choice to stay in the stuckness and play the victim stuckness being. You know, there's lots of people in there, I'm stuck, I can't do anything in life. And that's actually quite a victim space. Yeah, and I say that with all sincerity, but it is a bit of a victim space. Because my question is, what are you doing about it? You know, have you made a call to Adrian to have a coaching session to help you get unstuck? There you go, step one. That'll help you get unstuck. Because people need to take action. So if you're stuck, you have to take action. You have to engage the will. Yeah, because stuckness is like that space. So if you're stuck, you have to take action. It's the only way to get unstuck. You know, if your feet are stuck on the floor, you've got to pull your feet up to get unstuck. Or you've got to take your shoes off, you know, and leave them behind being stuck and walk barefoot. But you have to take action. So, Margaret, step one, contact Adrian and let's work on you getting unstuck. And if you don't do that, then you can stay stuck. There you go. There's a great bit of information for you, and I say that with all due respect. But yeah, take action, Margaret. Give me a call. I'm looking for a housemate and a job and not having any luck with either. Can you help? There's a guy that's super keen to move in, but I feel like he wants too much from me as he's leaving his marriage. Alrighty, so Tiffany, boundaries, 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 boundaries. I love working with boundaries. Write a contract. This is the deal when you move into my house and you will sign the contract. And if you break the contract, you are gone with a one warning. It's a really good thing to have if you're house sharing is what are the rules of the house? I say that actually for any household, whether you're sharing or not, whether it's a family or a share house. What are the house rules? What's the house engagement? What's the house agreement that you have? It might be that, you know, if you're house sharing, nobody's allowed to walk around naked. It might mean that whoever cooks, they have to clean up after themselves. It might mean that you have to knock on the door before you enter, or it might mean you've got to clean the toilet every time you've been in the toilet. Whatever it is, have a clear contract or agreement around the house. But if you're sensing that somebody wants some more and you're not in that space, it's probably a no. You know, use that intuition. Trust your intuition on that one. But in terms of housemate sharing, look, depends where you live, what you have to offer. But there are lots of Facebook pages you can jump onto in a particular area. You can ask friends, do they know anybody? There's always somebody looking for a space to share, like tons of people, whether they're students or whether they're friends or friends of friends or people just moving through. But get clear on your contract. The space, the cost, what's allowed, what's not allowed. That will be the first, because then you'll feel good. You'll feel good about presenting something to somebody to say, happy to have you on board, because, you know, there's a synergy here. But it might be, you know, is there smoking, is there drinking, is there drugging, is there music, you know, all those things, all those basic things you would expect to have when you move into a space. So Tiffany, that would be what I'd suggest to you there. Yep. So, and in terms of a job, same thing. What do you really want to do? Are you really putting out to the universe the thing you really want to do? And I'm not saying what the head wants to do. I'm talking about what the soul wants to do. Because you might say, oh, well, I've been in the catering industry for 20 years and I'm going to go and get a job in the catering industry. And your soul might be screaming at you saying, but that's not what I want you to do. I want you to take up the paintbrush and go and do that amazing artwork that you love doing and sell your artwork and open a gallery and actually be a famous artist, or even if it's not famous, but be an artist, because that's my soul longing. Yeah. So a job, a job, for me, when I hear that, it's more about going out and earning some money for an exchange of time and energy. But if you get into your vocation or your passion or your purpose, which is what the soul longing is, there's a different story. Yeah. So the question for you is it a job for a means of, you know, an income, or are you going to go and follow your passion, and then from that, hopefully, then you will get that income as well. So there's a difference for me between vocation and purpose and a job. So nothing wrong with having a job. So people love having their jobs. They get connection from it. They're people, you know, they work with people. They feel like they're giving service. But for some people, it's a little bit more. So the question for you, Tiffany, is what is it you want to do? What do you truly want to do? Because if you do that, then it'll come. And if you need some support in that, please do make the contact. So sorry if you lost. I lost my hubby. Yep. Very, very sorry to hear on losses for people with partnership. I haven't had that experience, and it must be not good. Any tips on helping me have a short labour with bub? I've had 9 and 8 labours with my older. So I am not a medico, Joanne, so I cannot give medical advice. But what I can say to you is it's in the preparation. And having spoken to women who've had births, letting go of the fear, letting go of the idea of the pain, learning how to breathe through that, and finding somebody to guide you through that in a way where you're not facing any fear. So letting go of the fear. I think there's a birth book that Arlene's told me about of letting go of fear in births. There's a few things you can do. The other thing is you can find somebody who works in homeopathy, and they may be able to help you. I certainly know a little bit of a story. So once again, not advice because I'm not a medico. So I want to be clear that this is not advice. This is a story. But my first wife, she bore 4 of my 6 children, and the 1 to 3rd child that come through, he was actually a little bit breech, and the midwife came along. She was also a homeopath and a healer, which was absolutely brilliant. It was a home birth. This was down in Tasmania, and she came along and she managed to turn baby I think it was a few days before the birth, and she came, and my wife was quite dilated. She was ready for the birth, and something wasn't quite happening. And the midwife gave her something called pulsatilla, which is a homeopathic remedy just to help move things along a little bit. And the story goes that in homeopathic remedies, I don't know if you understand it, but you have a particular potency in it. So you have 2x and 4x and 6x and 12x and 36x, and the bigger the x, the more potent. And she went to give some pulsatilla to speed things up a little bit, to get things moving along for my son to be born. And she actually gave my wife pulsatilla, I think it was 30x instead of like a 2x or 4x. She got halfway down the road. She got home. Luckily, she only lived 20 minutes away. As soon as she got in the door, the phone was ringing. It was like, get yourself back here because baby's coming. So I'm not saying it was the pulsatilla, but there's a good chance that the pulsatilla helped things on. So you can talk to a homeopath. You can talk to a natural, your midwife, where there may be some natural things to help speed that up again. There's other things I've heard of about warm towels and warm bottles and different things, but a lot of it is about the mindset around taking the fear out of birth as well. So I hope that helps a little bit for you as well, Joanne. So yeah, ask somebody who's in that field, and it could be the midwife or a homeopath who might be able to help you, because the homeopathic remedy is harmless. It can't do you any damage. So I hope that helps you, and I hope you enjoyed the story. So thank you, makes a lot of sense. My pleasure, Mel. Mel Jane, love and hugs to you. Thank you so much. Thanks. Mel Jane, love and hugs. Alison, I was told that I need to bring joy into my life. It's so hard to know what to do in what order. So I follow what I love. Will that naturally take away the grief? People just don't explain things. Well, it's true. And look, when other people are telling you what to do, Alison, in your grieving process, it's not the thing to listen to. You have to find your own journey in this. You really do. And maybe joy isn't the thing that you need in your life right now. And you have to trust that. Maybe it's just a deep grief, but maybe it's about finding moments of joy. Or maybe it's about finding moments of joy in a different way that's unique to you. So when people say, do you need to do something? You need joy, or you need this, or you need that. Just take it with a pinch of salt, because that's their story. You have to find your story. You have to find what you need. And the only way you're going to do that is to take some time to tune in. And maybe have a conversation with somebody, like myself, or somebody who can coach you through that process, and get clear on what your needs are, and create the space for those needs. Because who is somebody to tell you need joy in your life? You might not be ready for joy. If you've lost somebody or something's happened in your life, joy might be the last thing. But it might be where you need to find patches of joy, moments of joy. Yep. And that's the journey. You have to unfold that. You have to find the next steps for yourself. And I'd suggest, what's the next step for the next week? And then what's the next step after that for the next week? And then you might be able to go, what's the next step for next month? And then 2 months. But just getting through a week sometimes when you're in a grieving space is enough. 3 days might be enough. What can you focus on for that? So find your own journey, Alison. Seriously, find your own journey. You'll know what you need if you ask your soul, if you ask your spirit. What do I need next? And that's really, really important. Yeah. Hi, trees from New Zealand. I've made decisions to move from my family in looking after my own health. When I move, I'm going to be hard to leave my 3-year-old granddaughter. I won't be far. In a 2-hour drive away. Advice. 2 hours is doable. 2 hours is doable. Because your health comes first. Because when you're in your height of health, you're more effective for others. And also what you're doing, Trees, is you're teaching that 3-year-old in your family the way forward about looking after themselves, because self-love and self-care is the highest form of spirituality. Because when we care about ourselves, when we care about our own health and well-being, and when we have self-love, it's the highest endeavor, because it shows that we can give that to ourselves, and then we can give it to others more fully, because you cannot truly give it to others if we cannot give it to ourselves. It's impossible. Usually when we give it to somebody else, we're doing it for a reason. We're doing it for a gain. But when we love ourselves truly, and we can actually give that love out to others, we can do that a bit more unconditionally. I don't know if unconditional love really is that easy. I think I've only actually experienced it a couple of times in my life. I've experienced it a little bit me, and I've seen somebody else give unconditional love. But people talk about unconditional love, but it's actually, from my perspective, a very hard thing to give or receive, because there's usually a condition, there's usually a secondary gain that we're after in that process. But when we can truly love ourselves a bit more, and I don't know if we can ever do that fully, but as much as we can, then of course we can be there for others. So a good decision, Trees, to focus on you and give as much time as you can, of course, to that 3-year-old. And 2 hours, make that, a priority for yourself. Put that in the calendar, make it happen so that she doesn't feel the rejection as well. So there's still a connection, because she will feel it. I know there's a connection between the two of you. But focus on you is so, so, so important. That is when I focus on me and other people focus on themselves. Because self-love is an amazing experience when we learn to get to it. Yeah, and it's not about being selfish. It's about self-love. It's very different. So, blessings and namaste on that journey for your Trees. I want to be more involved with learning my spiritual journey and mental health. I'm really busy since Dad died. And passed away. So once again, today there seems to be a bit of a story around grieving process. And, even 3 years, there's still some residue there about grieving. But for you to tune into your spiritual path now, is about what I spoke to just shortly, was about name your spiritual path. What is your spiritual path? Can you be really clear about it? And if you do, stay on it and work with it, and stay on it and work with it. Don't keep flipping from one thing to another, because you don't really get to any depth. If you do a weekend workshop here and a weekend workshop there, you'll only ever become a weekend knowledge person. You'll learn a little, like a weekend container of knowledge. But if you stay on something for a year, you get a year of knowledge on the same thing, and you go down the rabbit hole. If you do 2 years, you get more knowledge. You do 5 years, you get even more. You do 10 years, you get an incredible depth of knowledge in that wisdom from, if you like, from that record, from that understanding of that pathway. If you do 20 years or 25 years, you can start to claim some mastery in that, because you've done that pathway. But if you flip off from one thing to another, this is, what I share with people, and you make your own mind up on this, you're only ever going to have snippets of information from different modalities or different paths, and you're not going to go deep, because the first few months of learning anything is always the basics. So if you're basic in one weekend workshop, you go to another weekend workshop, you get the basics in another. You go to another weekend workshop, you get the basics. But if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you stay on one pathway for as long as you can. I'm suggesting could be a lifetime or half a lifetime to get to the mastery. So Trees, find that path and then stay with it would be my suggestion. If you want any supporting that, please do contact me. And we've had a couple of conversations already, and would love to share some more with you. So Joanne, is it weird to love the pain? Lol, I loved having the babies and just go. Yeah, absolutely. Look, pain is amazing. Pain can be absolutely euphoric, and particularly, I haven't birthed a child obviously in this incarnation, and but I've heard women say that the childbirth pain, in terms of the intensity, is an incredible experience. So I'm not saying don't embrace the pain. I'm saying find a way where the birth won't be a fear pain. Yeah, so I'm not saying it is for you, but that was just a suggestion. If there's a fear around the pain, get rid of the fear, but then embrace the pain. There's a very difference in fear pain and embracing pain. It's very, very different. So thank you for the clarity, and I hope I've given a bit more clarity on that one. So absolutely, Joanne. Therese, any good advice? Yeah, Therese, always full of advice, and the advice would be get your vision, get your plan, and then put it into action. Get your vision, get your plan, put it into action in all aspects of your life. And one thing I'd say to you and everybody else, and if you haven't done so yet, go to my website, adrianhanks.com, go to the shop, download the free journal and start journaling. And there's also some other videos and things on there you can download as well. But the journal, start journaling. Get clear on those 10 life aspects of where you're doing really well and things that need tweaking and improving, because that'll give you a good self-evaluation, because we start with a self-evaluation. And the other thing is, the other advice, call me and book in for a session, and then we can move forward and do some great stuff together. Pleasure, Bernie. Thank you so much for the message. It's heartwarming to know that it's actually having an effect with people. That's what I'm here for, hopefully. Yes, I'm always last. I'm looking after my granddaughter a lot, and daughter, young man, to get my son as well. Yep, absolutely, Trez. It's about you focusing on you now. And Joanne, yeah, thank you too. So this nearly an hour, like we've got a couple of minutes left of the hour. This has gone super, super, super quick for me today. I love it when there's interaction, when there's a flow like this. It actually really makes the show come alive. I really love that space. And once again, please do contact me. You can jump on my Facebook page, Adrian Hanks, or the website, adrianhanks.com. And just for a little bit of a plug, in terms of a couple of things I'm doing, just let me have a drink. I have a 12-week online program that I sell. It's $297, and you get drip fed every week a video of certain topics to master, to bring into your life, to improve your life, to get yourself more on track. And you also get downloads and lots of information on that as well. And that's a great program that you can just do at home in the comfort of your own home or your office. And once you have that, by the way, you can keep repeating that program. So that's a really good way to start some work, without the one-on-one. If you want to engage me on the one-on-one as part of that 12-month journey, obviously there's an extra cost and you can do that. The other thing is the one-on-one work. You can book in for a session or a series of sessions with me and really help you to get back on track again in some area of your life, a relationship or vocation or health and well-being. That's the field I work in. The other thing is I have a 12-month mentoring program that is actually starting this weekend on Sunday. And that is an invitation space where you have to have an interview with me, because the synergy has to be right for the group. But there is an opening for that. Now, if you want to be committed to doing some serious work for 12 months with a mentor, with myself and a group of dedicated people, that includes online work every fortnight, a 2-day live program here in Australia, probably in Byron Bay. It's got a writing component to it, where I'm going to teach you how to write your book or get ready for some preparation in that. And it's got lots of other things on there. That's on my website under programs. So if you really want to commit to getting really stuck in and having an absolute complete life change in 12 months, that could be the program for you too. So that's really deep, it's really intense, it's really full on. I don't hold back on that in giving people what they actually need and then challenging people to make the breakthroughs, because I want people to get that big breakthrough. I want people to change and have a dynamic life. I have a dynamic life, and I love to share that with people, inspire people and help people to get a dynamic life too. So if that's what you're after, you can contact me straight away after this. Let's have a conversation and we can talk about the possibility of you jumping on that 12-month program as well. But that's on my website under programs. So there's a few opportunities there. I've also got a few workshops unfolding all the time with public speaking and health and well-being as well. But go to my website and check it out. And the best thing you do is call me and have a conversation for half an hour, because that's the free offer today as well on my website. So Therese, thanks for your positive energy and advice. Self-care can look for others better. Yep, absolutely. Can you link for free journal? Yeah. So go to adrianhanks.com and go to the shop. Click. and you'll see it on there. So you can buy the ready-made one. I can post it out to you, or you can just download the free one. And what I do, I just take that to a printer's and get it bound and print it into a book. And then I write in that journal. So you can do that as well. It costs about $10 or so to go and get that printed, put it on a thumb drive, take it in, Officeworks or something like that, and get that done. So adrianhanks.com into the shop. But also go to the media page and go to the other pages and see what's available. And let's make a connection. So I want to thank Sarah Watkins for putting this spiritual events directory together and having guests on here like myself, because it's an amazing space. Sarah, I know there's lots more coming from what you're doing with this work, and I really want to honor you and thank you, because I love this space. I love my Thursday midday show, and I look forward to connecting up with everybody again next week, midday, and it will probably be live, I'd imagine, from Byron Bay, because I'm down there next Thursday. And if anybody's down in that space and wants to come and connect personally, you can also do so. But don't forget, lots of programs, lots of support, and very happy to connect with anybody who wants to do that. So namaste, blessings. You go have an amazing rest of the day. See you.